first Aston Villa podcast video type thing I'm doing with my mate Mitchell. How's it going, Mitch? How are you?
I'm not bad, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. Well, we just won, so that's a good
Exactly. All
start.
the better for the
Good
3
start to the
points.
afternoon.
Yeah, all the
So,
better for the three
Aston Villa,
points.
yeah, another one. Aston Villa obviously beat Arsenal 1-0 from a goal in the second minute from a Watkins goal from a Traore assist after a pretty bad mistake by Cedric for Arsenal. Your first 15 minutes were very boring, apart from that goal. It was very slow, lots of fouls, lots of no one actually sort of pushing. What are your thoughts on the first half as a whole?
I think the first half, obviously, we started quite fast with the goal from Watkins, and obviously Traore bounced on the missed pass from Cedric in the first couple of minutes, which then obviously led to a very lucky slash scrappy goal from Watkins, but goal's a goal, which got us the result. And then I think it was a very cagey first 20 with Arsenal attacking a lot and Villa kind of sitting back, and which was basically the majority of the match.
Most of the game, yeah.
Yeah,
One big talking point from the first half, it wasn't many, but it was that amazing Martinez save, wasn't it, from Xhaka's free kick? I mean, it was a fantastic free kick. I can't remember who caused the foul. Can you remember who made the foul? Because it was a pretty dangerous area to give it away. Was it Constance?
I thought it was Grealish. No, I thought it was Grealish coming back and
Oh,
fouling.
yeah, was it Grealish, like a little retting from
Yeah,
behind
yeah,
through the legs on Saka?
on
Well,
Saka. Yeah,
it was good to see, weren't it, actually, for once, us double teaming and fouling one player rather than everyone always fouling Grealish for 90 minutes. We did
I
it to
know. Yeah,
Saka for most of the game as well.
well, yeah. So we did cancel out Saka a lot,
Mm.
which is it's quite promising, I suppose, if when we do start playing bigger teams with players that can destroy us. We can
Yeah,
double up on them, and we've got players that are obviously doing the nitty gritty as well. So the fouls that when needed.
yes. Lots of cynical fouling from both teams throughout the
Oh yeah,
game. Xhaka especially, he's always known for it as well. He did it late on in the game against Grealish,
he
and
did. Yeah, it
you
was
know, a
basically like a
yellow
two.
card. Quite lucky because it was basically a high kick. It
It
kicked
was like
him.
a
He
kung
like
fu kick.
swung his leg. Yeah,
Yeah,
he swung his leg right at him.
something like
Um,
karate
it,
kick, wasn't
yeah, in the first half as well, Nakamba got a yellow for a foul on Saka, and the commentator on for BT, he said something along the lines of, "Yeah, it's a clear foul, clear yellow card." But did you see it? I didn't see any contact.
I can't really remember it,
You can't
to be
remember. It's
honest.
not a major. It's not
I
a
think
major thing.
if it was a bad foul, then I'd remember that. But to be fair, Nakamba's performance in the first 45, I couldn't fault him.
No,
I
well,
actually, I
we
think
all
that's the
know.
best 45 minutes he's
Yeah,
had in a Villa shirt. He can't kick a ball,
no.
but he can defend occasionally.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Everyone knows now for Villa with Nakamba. Because I was really surprised, but out of the three substitutes, so your central three midfields that you substitute because of Mays, Nakamba
Yeah,
for Louise is not the one anyone would have thought we would have made because McGinn's been looking tired and Barkley's been
yeah.
nothing, non-existent for the past few games. So I was very surprised that Nakamba is the one that came in.
I think the way it worked though, because obviously we had a lot of it, like what Louise lacks in like energy. He doesn't. He's not everywhere as Louise. He's very centrally minded. But with Nakamba, he doesn't stop running, and then you've
Mm.
got McGinn who doesn't stop running. So I think that kind of them two sitting in front of the back four really helped Villa today against quite a strong attacking Arsenal side.
Well, don't forget in the second half, how many wingers did they have on the pitch at once? They had like 7 wingers, didn't they?
Yeah, well, they had Willian, Odegaard, Saka,
Saka, Pepe.
obviously Pepe, Aubameyang. You can argue is a winger as well.
Aubameyang was on there as
I
well. I
think
didn't
that's
see him do a
where
thing.
I think in the last like dying moments of the second half, when the cross came in, I think it was Saka crossed it in, and Holding jumped backwards to try and header it, and he
Yeah,
put off. Like if he didn't do that, I reckon Aubameyang would have scored then.
yeah.
But then obviously,
Target found himself on the floor there somehow.
yeah,
I
I
don't know
think
why he was on the floor.
Target's solid every match,
He's
isn't it?
solid. He lunges in a lot. He was quite lucky as well in the second. We'll move on to the second half now. We might
Yeah,
as well because
yeah.
really, the first half there wasn't too much
No, there was nothing to talk about in
talk
the
about
first half.
throughout the game. The only thing I can think of from the first half was that I noticed that Watkins, he does it every game. He picks up a lot of fouls. He
Yeah.
fouls an awful lot and doesn't get punished for it.
So
It's
does
quite
Grealish though.
strange.
Grealish does as well. Grealish fouls a lot, but
Yeah,
never gets
but
caught
not
because it's
bad.
like
Yeah,
they're not when you're looking at a team, they're not the bad boys of the team, are they? So the
no,
referee's
especially
quite
not
oblivious.
Watkins. No,
So they're quite
I think he gets
oblivious
away with a
to it.
lot because he leaves a fuss behind
Yeah,
and
yeah,
sort of takes someone out quite a lot. And I picked up on that. I noticed that this
um,
game, and
yeah,
especially against West Ham, I noticed he did a lot of fouls, a lot of
yeah.
cynical little fouls. But as
I
I
think
say, move on to the second half.
yeah,
Um, it was a better beginning 15 minutes of the second half. It was a lot quicker. We actually had a few chances. I thought Matt Ryan for Arsenal played very well.
yeah. He did parried quite a lot of shots, didn't
He
he? He
made
didn't.
quite a lot of good saves.
Yeah.
We could have probably, in the end of the day, Arsenal had a lot more of the ball, but I'd say we had the better chances.
Oh yeah, I think Matt Ryan had to pull off more saves than Martinez did. I think
Well, yeah, 100%.
Martinez had quite a quiet game really. Considering a
Compared to
lot
what
of
he's
the
had.
game, yeah, considering a lot of the game was played in the Villa half,
Yeah.
Martinez was quite quiet because Arsenal like to play by the box, but they go from side to side, but never really
Mm.
run direct at
There's
our
no
defence.
there's no decisive pass or
Yeah, no,
there's no Grealish pass in
yeah, there's no
behind
Grealish or
the
even when
defence.
Ozil was at his
Özil?
best. Yeah, when Ozil was at his best, obviously he was
Mm,
the one that would make that pass behind the back for then a player like Aubameyang or the other 10 wingers they had on the pitch to get on the end of.
yeah. Obviously, the second half, Trezeguet came on for Traore, which is a sub that I think was well made, and he made it earlier than normal, Smith, because we know
Yeah,
Smith doesn't make subs until the 80th minute if he can avoid it. But at
yeah.
the same time, Traore, has he played 90 minutes yet
I
for
don't
Villa?
think he has actually. I think I think he's very good at what he does. Whereas if we had a better defensive right back and he wouldn't have to come back as much, I think he would probably be more efficient in front of goal, let's say, because a lot of his energy he does waste on coming back. But that's when obviously we've got Trezeguet coming back into the team where he's like another right back
Yeah.
or something.
Well,
Like,
Trezeguet, he's a bit like Nakamba, isn't he? He's
yeah,
he does his job very well, and we put him on at the right time, right when Arsenal were putting on all
yeah,
overloading Cash's size, and
yeah,
Trezeguet had to come on to give that bit of extra support, and it did work. 100% it worked. So I say for Dean Smith, that's a good change that he made, but he makes it every week anyway.
yeah. He
So
does. He makes it every week, and then
he
well,
makes that
sometimes
every
it's El
week.
Ghazi, isn't it? But
Yeah,
it depends if we get him battered by the opposition team, he brings on Trez for a defensive minded
yes.
player, and then
Which is good to
if
have. Trezeguet is very different to both El Ghazi and Traore and
oh
Grealish.
yeah,
He's
yeah, yeah,
very defensive minded, but he gets in the right positions up top.
it's just
He's
he can't
missing
score,
that
he can't finish.
finishing touch. Yeah,
Yeah, he just
obviously
can't
he got the
finish.
goal last season against Arsenal, which was like the turning point
Well, yeah, it
for
was
our
1-0,
season.
wasn't it, last season? Which was
It was a very good finish for him, shockingly.
yeah, it was. I think wasn't it?
But
Was it across to the
volley,
back post and then
yeah,
he
it's like
volleyed it in?
it's like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
half volley back post at the
yeah.
near side of the keeper as well.
It was a
So it was a
very good
good
goal.
goal.
Oh,
Obviously, again, not too much happened chances wise for Villa because it was obviously we were defending a lot in the second half.
yeah,
We had a couple chances where we broke and Watkins nicked the ball, I think, twice
mm.
off someone like Shaka in the middle of the park and then passed it to Grealish or what have you. And we were
I think
unlucky not to
Watkins.
probably get another.
Yeah, I think Watkins does that very well, doesn't he? I think a lot of the pressure and the pressure in the other side always comes from Watkins. He's always
Yeah.
the lead vocal point of the team. He starts the pressure, and he just doesn't stop running. I don't like. I remember there was one point I can't remember the minute, but Watkins literally ran from the Arsenal bloody box to cover target because Grealish wasn't running back, and he was
Yes,
following. He
that was in
followed
the second
Shaka.
half. He
Yeah,
tracked back the whole way. He didn't need
yeah.
to because in the end the pass wasn't made.
But if it
But
was, then
if it
he was there
was,
with
he's
Saka
through
to
on
put some
goal.
pressure on,
Yeah,
and
brilliant. He's such a hard worker, Watkins.
yeah.
I mean, realistically, if it wasn't for Martinez being signed, he'd be signed every season, 100%.
Oh yeah, but I think I think obviously he had that hat trick against Liverpool, didn't he? Where he got a lot of he got hat trick. So
But he
where
should have scored 5, and he admitted after the game that
yeah,
he should have scored 5 in that game.
that's
And
what I
they
was
went,
getting
he
on
did
to.
go,
Like
he went
he
quiet for a while.
yeah, he always wants to better himself, doesn't he? So if he
Mm.
scores 2, he wants to score 3. If he scores 3, he wants to score 4. If he doesn't score, obviously he wants to score. But even when he doesn't score in matches, he still brings a lot more to the side
Yeah,
than say like last season and Wesley did, or a
Samatta, or when El
Davis or
Ghazi was put at top.
Samatta. Yeah,
You know, Watkins is our best. I mean, I suppose if you have to compare him to any other striker we've had in the past 10 years, he's completely different to Benteke was.
yeah. I think he's
He's
probably
completely different to Abraham. And Benteke and Abraham have been our 2 best strikers in the last 10 years. I think he's quite similar to Ayew, Jordan Ayew, but better
a lot
at what he
better. I
does,
think he runs
is
a
what
lot
I would
more.
say.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think the comparison to Jordan Ayew is quite spot on. It's just obviously Ayew is a championship player and Watkins is clearly a proven Premier League player now.
Ayew's a
He's
relegation fodder Premier League player or a
yeah,
solid championship player.
yeah,
So that brings us pretty much onto the end of the second half. Obviously, Ramsey came on for Barkley in the 75th minute.
yeah.
So, Ramsey get. What do you say, sorry?
I said that, which I think was a very strange decision
Very
from
strange
from
decision.
Dean, because
Dean Smith
I
seems
don't
to want to just give him 15 minutes every other
yeah
week.
I don't see the reason behind that when we've got Sanson, who is very experienced in
Yeah.
those type of situations where Ramsey isn't. I think when we're holding on to dear life at 1-0 down at
Yeah,
home
he's probably
to
not the player you
Arsenal.
want. He plays all right, actually, when he came on. He had quite a good chance. The shot was disappointing,
Yeah, shot wasn't as good
but
as
he
it
got
should be.
but he got into the position. But I was thinking about Ramsey. He's made 8 appearances in your Premier League this season. So
Yeah,
I think he's,
yeah, but he's
excuse me,
probably only
I think he's,
overall only had about 20 minutes. It comes
yeah,
on in the end, and then it does seem. I don't think Dean Smith knows his position yet, because
no,
sometimes he comes on
he's
and sits
playing in number
between.
10, really.
Yeah,
But I
mm,
don't know, maybe he'd be better as a number 8, where he
yeah,
gets a bit
box
more
to box.
physical.
Yeah, box to
Yeah.
box, a bit more physical, can dedicate like dictate play a bit more, and but yeah, I think it's
Mm,
more suited to that role. I think moving forward, we should probably drop him back in the field a bit more, maybe
yeah. But
where like
then
McGinn plays.
it depends where Sanson does play for us. Because against West
Yeah,
Ham, when we were losing, he plays alongside He played alongside McGinn. Sorry,
yeah.
he replaced Louise, who plays alongside McGinn. So maybe Dean Smith wants Sanson as a McGinn backup.
I don't think you spend like 15 plus mil on a player that's going to sit there and play backup when he was playing probably week in week out for.
Well, no, but yeah, the money people spend now, 15 million on a backup's not that bad. When you want to be paying, when Barkley's going to cost us 30 million. Hopefully, with Tuchel at Chelsea, maybe he'll be a bit less because I'd pay 15 for Barkley.
I don't think I wouldn't. I
I
don't
would
think.
I would pay 15 for Barkley. 30, no, not to happen. But well, Barkley did look very frustrated when he came off.
Yeah, but just being
Um,
frustrated and wanting to play doesn't mean he deserves to play. He's playing because at the moment he's playing because of his name. I don't think he deserves to be in that squad. But then if you look at the Villa squad in depth, there is nobody that could play ahead of him. But when we do have somebody that will play ahead of him, I think they'll bring a lot more to the team than Barkley does. I don't think he's as good as maybe he was at Everton.
well, no, he has moments, Barkley, doesn't he? He has moments in the season, not even in the game. He has
Yeah, no,
moments in
in
the
the season,
season
yeah,
where he'll get maybe 3 or 4 games out of the. He's never going to play 38, maybe 30 games tops he'll play
yeah,
because he's injury prone. Out of your 4 or 5 games out of your 30, he'll have a 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 performance. But the only problem with Barkley is the biggest problem is when he's not on form, he's 4 out of 10, 5. He's one of the worst players on the pitch when he's not playing well. He's, I think, he's not too dissimilar to Hurahan for Villa in terms of
yeah. He doesn't do as much running about and he doesn't do tracking
yeah,
back.
he's not
But
a hard
what?
worker, which is why we loaded off Hurahan to Swansea.
Yeah,
And
I think what
Hurahan's
he
doing
does.
really well at
I think
Swansea.
what he does bring to the team though as well. I think Grealish trusts him on the ball a bit more. Whereas last season, you probably saw Grealish not passing to other players as much
Yeah.
as he was this season. And that's, I think, what Barkley brings to the team. He brings that trust and that relationship with Grealish, as Grealish is forming with Watkins as well.
And
I think,
Target down the left as well. Grealish and
Target,
Target are
yeah,
there were at points last season. Target's overlap is usually very good, and Grealish will usually pick him out, and the pass is, 8 times out of 10,
yeah,
perfect pass.
yeah. I think obviously Grealish and Watkins moving forward, they're going to be the vocal point of the team because everyone else is quite in and out. We haven't really established, is Traore starting every week, or is Trez
Mm.
going to come back in, or is El Ghazi going to play for a month every few months? But I think moving forward, that relationship with Grealish and Watkins is going to be very pivotal to our seasons
Mm.
ahead,
Yeah.
especially if we get into Europe next year. And we need that consistency in the team, and we need to know who our strongest 11 are.
Well, we'll bring on to that now, actually, then, because it's basically the end of the game. There was 5 minutes added on out of, I don't quite know where the 5 minutes came from,
Where did those
but
5 minutes come from? It's like Arteta time. It's like Fergie time. It's
yeah,
just like they put
Fergie
up
time.
5, and it was like, where's that come from? It
Yeah,
was crazy.
but we held on, defended quite well. Arsenal had a good couple chances, but they
Yeah.
didn't really test Martinez at the end.
No.
Not that I can remember.
I can honestly only remember 2 times that probably Martinez was a bit of under stress when Xhaka had that free kick in the first half where he pulled off a top save, and then I think the cross came in from the left when Aubameyang was on Martinez, and then Mings cleared it just between them both. I think they were the only
Mm.
2 points in the match where it was like, oh, like they could have scored there.
Yeah, they could have scored, but really, we didn't scare, not by a long shot. But
No.
anyway, we'll move on from that now. You mentioned how potentially you think, I know you do from personal conversations as well, but you think that Villa could potentially get into Europe this year. Do you actually see that happening? Top eight. Top eight,
I had
I can see.
I had
But
a look at
Europe,
the table. I'd look at the table a second, like after the match, and we've got one match in hand on West Ham, who are sitting 5th at the moment. And if we win that match in hand, which is it Brighton next? Is Brighton
our games in hand are, I believe, Everton
okay?
and
Have we played the
I
Man
can't.
City one yet?
We played the Man City once. We lost 2-0.
Is it Newcastle? Have we played the Newcastle one? Because Newcastle, we had COVID. Newcastle had COVID, and then we couldn't play
Yeah, it
Newcastle.
may be Newcastle then. I can't remember.
But let's say we get 3 points out of that match in hand we've got on West Ham. We go above them, which will put us 5th. And the fact that like the likes of Arsenal and Chelsea and Tottenham are struggling so much this season, I think we possibly could get into Europe. But I still think we need to show a lot more consistency before the end of the season when
Yeah,
playing teams like West Ham during the week, and we should be
Burnley as
beating
well the other
them, and
week.
like Burnley, yeah, and we should be beating those teams because in Europe we're not going to get it's not. There's no second chance. There's not
Mm.
38 games in a season, or 30. Yeah, 38 games. But yeah,
I mean, obviously, if you look at teams, I don't want to go to Europe yet because I feel like what happened with Wolves,
yeah.
where they just had so many games, especially if you do have a good run in Europe, the amount of games you play, it'll be like this season, next year
Well, I
as
think
well.
that's why it's so important to hold on to our team now. Obviously, like hold on to all those players, and then like once we get into Europe, the category of players we'll be looking at, rather than if we don't, because we've got the money, we've got the
Mm.
backing. They want to spend their money, so I think once we get into Europe, the category of player that will attract will be a lot better than it is now. And even our team now, we can upgrade that team, and then that team will be the reserve team, as you will, like the substitutes and the reserve players, which will then bring the squad depth that we can play these players against the likes of Burnley next season and save maybe the next category of player that we buy in the summer for Europe and the big Premier League games.
Well, Dean Smith likes a small squad. He doesn't like to rotate very much, which is a bit of a worry.
Yeah.
With if we did get into Europe, for example, I can't see him having a 30-man squad.
No, I
I
can't
don't
see
think
that
it's going to
happening
happen.
either. However, Dean Smith has been, like, for the majority of career, has been a championship manager where their schedule and fixture list
Yeah,
is a lot more
46 games a season. Yeah.
exactly. And as you can tell this season, the injuries we're not getting that many big injuries, which
No, we've been
obviously,
quite lucky. Is that
yeah,
luck as well? Watkins has never really experienced injury in his career,
no,
but look at Wesley last year. He's been out for over 12 months and he's not coming back anytime soon.
no,
Probably, I
he's
don't
starting
see him playing
sprinting.
a game this season still.
No, nor do I. But I think when he does come back, I think he'll add that bit of like it'll ease the pressure on Watkins a little bit because we'll have somebody on the bench that can come on. And I know I'm not sure about yourself, but I quite liked Wesley. I know he never had the goals, but I think he was a
Mm,
workhorse as well. And I think when he does come back and he plays up top with Watkins, hopefully, I think them two will just be unstoppable with Wesley holding up the ball and Watkins making those runs in
mm.
behind.
Yeah, again, we've had this conversation before.
We
We
have.
will move on from that because we can save that for another time. What team you'd play? But Dean Smith is not playing two strikers at top. It's not happening, Mitchell.
We'll see.
Stop
We'll see, won't
dreaming
we?
of 4-4-2. It's not happening.
Which 4-4-2? Just like three,
Four four
like
two. Mike Bassett. That's what you got to do. Mike Bassett. 4-4-2.
3-4-3.
3-4-3. Oh,
Oh,
not. Oh, I hate 3-4-3. It's an awful formation. Never works. It's
but
for
yeah,
England.
we can
Oh,
get into that another time because I could talk about Watkins and his positioning all day long.
yes, easily. So, moving on from that now, I just want to. We both had to think about it before. I want to ask you Aston Villa's man of the match and why.
So this was a difficult one for me because I think it was between two players which stood out for me, which was Watkins. And most weeks I slate this player because I don't think he's good enough. But today I've had to eat my own words because Mings was absolutely outstanding.
Yeah,
He didn't put a foot wrong all match, and I think yeah, so Mings would be mine because without him, I think we could have lost or like at least drew maybe because he made a few very
good.
important
Yeah,
interceptions. And you just, especially now with this coronavirus, you can just hear him. He doesn't stop talking. He never shuts up, which
no.
for me, if I was playing, that would do my head in. But he obviously, with the
It
likes of,
makes players better
yeah,
around him. It just
he
does. You
does.
need a vocal because concert is quiet.
You can see how much this hurts me saying. Because
Mm.
next week again, I'll
Well,
be slating him, but this week he's been
yeah,
awesome.
you and me both. We both have the same opinion on Mings for the most part. We
Yeah,
understand what he brings to the team, but his mistakes are sometimes not worth it because
no.
he's got a mistake in him every game.
Well, he's an English centre back, isn't he? All English centre backs have got a mistake in them every single game.
Yeah,
You look at
every
all the
single
top
game.
English centre backs. You've got
Maguire,
Maguire.
Stones are the exact same. Yeah,
Yeah, Maguire and Stones are exact same. Mings is the same. I think, yeah, I think moving forward, if we can try and coach that one mistake out of him, like today, he didn't play on the ball too much when it came to him. We just got rid of it, which
well,
I
to be
thought
fair,
was
I've
awesome.
noticed since the goal against Man City where he was holding on to it and got nicked from behind, even though it was
Yeah,
offside.
it wasn't.
Um,
No.
regardless of that, he's done that a lot throughout his Villa career. He's
Yeah.
been clearing the lines.
But we've got to remember Mings came into football as a left back, didn't he, for Bournemouth?
Mm,
Where as a left back you play with the ball a lot more. So he was like coached obviously to play with the ball as football's moving on.
yeah,
And now as a centre back they're trying to uncoach his coaching where it's just like just get rid of it. Like just kick it out because every time he takes more than two touches, my heart
you're
just drops.
scared.
I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
But today, every chance he got the ball, he got rid of it. He got the ball, he got rid of it. It was just, I couldn't fault him. So yeah, Mings was my man of the match today.
For me, it was between three players. For me, it was between Cash, Mings, and Watkins as well. I thought Cash. I've said to you before as well. I think he's slightly overrated among Villa
Yeah,
fans. I think he's a very good right back, but I see a lot of the time he just gets dominated by a winger sometimes, and he can't do anything about it. And that's not always Traore not tracking back because even when he's got Trezeguet alongside him, sometimes he struggles, and his
yeah,
crossing is average at best.
Yeah, I think
Regardless of that,
he does lunge in quite a lot as well.
but so does
But then,
Target.
yeah, Target does, but Target 9 times out of 10 gets the ball.
He usually wins
Like
those lunges.
Cash, probably 6 out of 10 gets the ball, which then the other times it's either a foul or if the player gets past him. Whereas, I'll let you continue because I like to see how much this hurts you saying that he was good, like Mings with me.
He has a very good game. Considering Arsenal overloaded their left-hand side, our right-hand side, throughout the whole game. He was up against Saka at one point, and then he was up against Pepe at other points. Willian, that's not as big a deal, but he was also up against like Smith Rowe, and Odegaard went over there a couple of times as well. And Cedric was down there at the beginning.
Yeah,
So
Cedric.
considering he had to probably play up against 7 players
Yeah.
throughout the game, constantly switching, constantly. Pepe is not amazing, but he's good on the ball.
Yeah,
And
he's quite like step over, isn't he? You never know really where he's going, but his end product is terrible.
he's a B-Tech Mahrez, is what he is.
Yeah, he's pretty much like a Traore, isn't he? He's fast, he's skillful, but he can't shoot or cross. So it's like...
Nah. But
So
even so,
who
it's
are you
not
giving
easy
it
to
to?
defend. What do you say, sorry?
Who are you giving it to then?
I'd probably give it to Mings as well.
Yeah.
I'd probably give it to Mings as well. Then Watkins and Cash, both very close to Mings
Yeah.
being.
I know before we started having this chat, we both we were saying that we were going to say the worst player of the match for Villa, but I can't really pick one. I think everyone did their job, and I know fair enough we only won 1-0, but the only player on the pitch that I think could have improved was Barkley, but I don't think he had a shocker. I don't think he had a
No, by
terrible
no means.
match. He played very well, but
to be honest, I would have said Grealish up until the 70th minute. Grealish did nothing up until the 70th minute, but we do know that is because he was being double teamed throughout the whole game.
Yeah.
To be fair, that is part of the reason why. As soon as he had a bit more space, Grealish actually played quite well in the last 20 minutes. So for that reason alone, I won't name him the worst player for Villa that match.
Yeah.
But interesting one for you. Who would you say was Arsenal's best player, and who would you say is Arsenal's worst player in that game?
God, I think with Arsenal, I think they had a lot of average performers today. So Saka played averagely, Smith Rowe played averagely, I think Bellerin played averagely, but I think the one that stood out for me was probably their goalkeeper, Ryan.
Yeah.
Because without him, it could have been 3 or 4. I think he pulled off some very important saves. But yeah, so I think their best player was Ryan, and I think their worst player on the pitch was probably Partey. It's just so quiet. It doesn't.
I don't.
I think
We
for
said.
the price tag, it's just not.
What does he do? What does he do?
Yeah,
What's he good at?
Exactly.
What's he good
We
at?
don't know
Because
here because obviously
we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know yet, but we'll see. Won't
From
we?
what?
They spent
From
a
I've
lot of
never
money on
watched him at Athletic Madrid really, unless he was in the Champions League or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's
But
it.
he doesn't seem to do much for Arsenal. I mean, he's been injured at points, but even when he's playing, I don't know what he does. So
No, he was
partly,
very
and I thought
calm.
Cedric, just for giving away that silly goal in the second minute.
Yeah, but you can't just blame Cedric for that because I think if
It was a weak pass. Your pass was way too
Gabriel
short.
came out and did what all centre backs should do, and either got the ball or clobbered bloody Traore, which anyone should do in that position because he wasn't the last defender, but he kind of hesitated. He came and then went back, which you should never hesitate, especially when you're one-on-one defending with a player like Traore.
Who's one-footed, and you know he's gonna
Exactly, yeah.
use his left foot. I mean, even his pass to Watkins was with his left foot outside of your boot. It would have been so much easier to use his right foot to whip it.
What a pass
and he
it was,
still
though.
uses his left. Very good
What a
pass.
Went straight to him, so we can't really.
We can't. He's probably the most one-footed player I have ever seen. But what a hell of a left foot he has got.
Oh yeah, he is very. I think there's a lot more to come from him once he gets his fitness up a bit.
And he's only just joined.
Yeah,
he joined from France. A lot of players don't adapt that well from France.
Well, no,
I mean,
it's quite a slow side, isn't it, France? It's quite a slow-paced match unless you're playing against Mbappe and Neymar. But it's a very one-sided league as well. Like,
Yes.
they've nothing to play for, really. Whereas
Uh,
obviously here we're trying to get into Europe and stuff, so we need to see if he can cope with that pressure and score a goal in the most important times, I suppose.
yeah, which he's got a couple goals this season, which is more than what we can say for the last few years, where it's been
Yeah,
the
Grealish
goal
or
last
and
season
whoever else.
especially. Who was our top goal scorer by the end? Was it Grealish or El
I think
Ghazi maybe?
I think it was Grealish last year. I think
And
he
he only
made
got like 7 or 8, and already this season, Grealish has got I think a fair few. Watkins has
yeah.
got
Watkins
12 in all
is
competitions.
it how many in the Premier League? Was it 8? No,
Watkins,
yeah, Watkins in the Premier League. Is it
I'm not sure. I think 9.
I thought it was 11, but anyway, that
Either way,
yeah,
he's
we're
already
getting
got more
goals
goals
from
than what A1 got last year.
yeah, we're getting goals from lots of different positions now. So
El
obviously
Ghazi's
we've got
got 5. Traore's
yeah,
got 4 or 5. Grealish has got probably over 5.
yeah, and then you've got Watkins who's got 11 or 9, whichever,
Yeah.
obviously. But then I think also I think McGinn shows signs of his long range shooting again, where every few matches he has one and he's like, oh, nearly went in, but it didn't.
So close. But I heard the commentators say he hasn't scored
One in
he
40
scored like
was it?
one goal. What do you say, sorry?
40 game. 1 in 40 game. Was it 40
Yeah.
games? One goal
I
in
think the
40?
last time he scored was against Tottenham last season, maybe.
Was it I can't remember, to be
That
honest.
was like the first game of the season. He may have scored one after that. That's the last time I remember him scoring. But
Yeah.
he could have scored one after that.
I think they said
So,
1 in 40 or 2 in 40 or something like that. It
not many.
wasn't good at all, especially for a
No.
player like McGinn, where he is box to box.
And you know he can
But
score because he has done it.
exactly, yeah,
He's got a belter on him.
he's got a belt with a left foot, yeah.
So that's a bit of a disappointment. But he plays a lot better today than he has done the last couple games,
Yeah,
100%. Because he's been looking tired and he's getting a bit better at that, I say.
yeah.
So,
I think he's consistent, isn't he, in the midfield at the moment, McGinn? Because I think like today he dropped Louise and brought Nakamba in. Whether that was for maybe Louise had a niggle or he had a maybe underlying fitness issue or whatnot. But I think by the sounds of it, by the interviews that Dean Smith gives and Terry, I think that McGinn looks to be that consistent in the midfield. I don't think they'll be dropping him anytime soon.
no. So, before we move on to the preview for the next game, is there anything that you have to say? Any talking points you want to bring up? Anything you
Yeah,
want to
so I
mention?
think so I think obviously to start the match when we just before we kicked off, I had a look at the lineups, and the one thing that stood out to me there was 11 English players starting, for, like overall between the two teams, which is half the players, which you don't normally get, especially in a top flight Premier League match. So obviously you had likes of Grealish, Watkins, Barkley, and then our back four for
Our
Villa,
whole back four, which
our
is
whole back
brilliant to
four.
see.
Yeah, and then obviously with Arsenal you've got Saka, Smith Rowe, Holding. But yeah, it's very good to see with the English players because it shows that maybe the next crop of English players are going to be a good one, which means maybe another like European or world success.
Well, I don't know
You
about
can
that,
only
Mitch.
hope, eh?
I don't know about that. Obviously, Grealish before the game he had an interview where he was talking about how he's desperate to play for England, which is brilliant to see because so many players you see them and they don't really
Just on to the
care.
next. Yeah, they're like, we'll just focus on today's game or the
Club,
next game. But Grealish is like, I don't really care. Like, I want to go. I
yeah.
want
I want
to.
to go to England.
Yeah.
I want to play the World Cup. I want to play at the Euros. I want to be England's star man, which is great to see because we've said before as well. Aston Villa is our club,
Hmm.
and it's the only club you care about. But for me personally, England overrides Villa.
Oh no, definitely not. If somebody said
Not for
to me,
you?
now if somebody said to me, would you rather England win the World Cup or Villa win the Premier? It'd be Villa win the Premier any day of the year.
No, I
I think
choose
that's probably
England.
just because I've always watching England has just always frustrated me, always, and it's just
Mm,
like like now with this team, I can't see how they don't play Grealish. I really don't. No matter where
no,
they play him, you can't not play him. But then we'll go, and every manager since we've been little go, oh right, so you're a name that plays for Man United. You're a name that plays for Tottenham. This top six philosophy just stays. no matter who's playing well or not. Where if that happens again, it'll be crazy because the players we've got that aren't playing in that top 6 at the moment are
Exactly.
great. Like it's just we'll see. We'll see what
We'll
happens.
have to see. Well, we'll have to have another chat about that next time England play. I think
I'm
it's
sure we will.
Austria. I'm not
Is that in
because we've
March?
obviously I think March.
Yeah. I
So
think and
obviously
obviously
we've had lots of conversations as well about what we do for England.
yeah.
You know,
Same conversation every
armchair
week, isn't
managers.
it?
What do you say, sorry?
Same conversation every week.
Same conversation every week. I'd do this, no, I'd do that. I'm not playing that
Yeah.
formation.
You're always
Yeah, it's
wrong
the
as well,
exact same.
so
I'm always wrong. That's
you're
not true.
always wrong.
I'm in charge of this stream. I can kick you off.
I highly doubt that will happen. But anyway, I think
No.
another talking point was the cameras panned to John Terry after Watkins scored that goal, and it was like he was on the pitch.
Mm.
Like I honestly reckon if we get into Europe again, he'll probably go and get a Villa strip on and come out and
Yeah.
celebrate.
What, and celebrate at the end when we win the
Yeah, that's
Champions
it.
League
Yeah,
like you do with Chelsea?
yeah. Go get his kit on, won't he? Oh,
Ah,
yeah.
no. I mean, Terry, he's obviously rumoured for your Bournemouth job at the
I'd,
minute.
I'd be sad to see him go because I think the
I'd be
season.
sad to see him go. I think he does want to be a manager. He's not going to be back up to Dean Smith.
No, not forever.
Realistically, it's John Terry. He's one of England's best players in the last 20 years. He's a Chelsea legend. He's a Premier League
And
legend. He's one of
glory.
the best centre backs.
Yeah, he always seeks glory as well. Like Chelsea, he wouldn't be happy unless he's winning.
Yeah, exactly. He
So
wants to be moving on his career. So,
yeah,
if he does leave, I don't see him going to Bournemouth. I don't know why.
big
I
step
see him
down.
waiting until the end of the season. Maybe
I think he's
that's
got to. I think
positive thinking.
because of his name and John Terry, he's very much in the limelight of Villa. So he does get a lot more attention than other assistant managers get because he's John Terry. And I think he'll get a lot of. I think if we do get into Europe, I think he'll get a lot of praise. Like I'm praising both already. I think if we didn't win another match all season, well, maybe a couple, but if we finished 12th to 8th, I'll be happy with that. I'll be over the moon.
Yeah, anything. We're not in a relegation battle, so it's a win already.
Exactly, yeah.
Because the whole point of the Premier League is when we got promoted, it was let's stay in the Prem this year,
Yeah.
and then you move on from that, and then you progress. Not every team can do what Wolves did a few years ago, which is get promoted and fight for Europe straight away. It's not realistic.
Well, no, it's not, is it? I think
But we stayed in the Premier League by, fingertips,
I
just
think
about skin
a
of
lot of
the teeth.
praise, a lot of praise has got to go to probably is it large the new recruitment, as you will.
Well, yeah.
I think his
Say something again, please, Mick.
whether
You're gone quite quiet.
hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, okay. You cut out for me there. Yeah, the
Oh, sorry.
recruitment this year has been fantastic, but weirdly, the recruitment last year,
Was
when
terrible.
everyone was saying, "Oh, it's rubbish. It's the end of the season. Oh, crap recruitment," but most of your players are still there.
Yeah, but I think
So,
the likes of Cash, who's come in, you've got
well, yes,
Traore, who's come in, you've got Barkley, Watkins. Without those four players, we'd probably still be fighting relegation.
maybe, but if you look at Target, Consa,
Yeah, Target and
Trezeguet,
Concer's been
not
through
Elgaz, sorry,
relegation.
Trezeguet, Louise, they're all
Yeah.
from last year, and they're equally as important as Cash has been, Watkins has been this
Oh yeah.
season.
I'm,
So,
I'm not. I'm not saying that what Dean Smith has done with the players is something of a miracle because obviously when Louise came in the championship, he wasn't the greatest, and I know you still think he's not, but I think he's awesome. I think he's a very good player. But I think what he's done with the players that he already has been outstanding as well. Like I think without
but
Dean
we've got
Smith
a
this
very good
season,
coaching team. We've got Craig Shakespeare as well, and we've
he
got, I
was the one
forget
that was
his name,
assistant. He was assistant for Ranieri, wasn't he,
Ranieri.
at Leicester?
Yeah,
And then I think is it. So you've got
I
John
forget the
Terry.
goalkeeper coach.
Yeah, yeah, he's irrelevant.
Who's was it West Brom?
I don't know, can't remember. And
He's always next to Smith. You always see him next to
yeah,
Terry, next to Smith all the time. So he's
and then
obviously
you've
been a
got the
big
little
part as
old,
well.
you've got the little old kit man as he looks. He looks like Kit Man, don't he? Can't think of
Mm,
his name. Is it? I can't think of his name at all.
no.
But the coaching
Oh
staff
well.
have done an amazing job with that Villa team.
Yeah. Defensively, we are. mostly very stable,
Yes.
which is good to see. I mean, today we were under the cosh for so long, but we were able to hang on,
Yeah.
hang on. But it wasn't just hanging on by the skin of the teeth like we did sometimes last year. We were, I think, 40 clearances we made today.
It's that like I've got it in my notes here. It says well organised defending and showed good discipline to the system. I think every
Fan-
player kept their position.
yeah,
I think every player did their job. No one fought one man team. Everyone was a collective, and it
yes,
was. I
100%.
think when that
It's
all fits in together, like we are, well, by the stats show we are one of the best defensive teams in the league.
yeah. We've definitely good solid ground to build on over the
Yeah,
next few months and potentially the next few seasons. Realistically, we can keep Grealish if we carry on playing like this. I don't think he's a sort of he's proven he wants to play for England, and if we
yeah.
can get him in England set up whilst playing at Villa, I can see him staying because Harry Kane has never left Tottenham, and they're not going to win anything. And
No,
he,
but I think with Grealish as well, Grealish has to. He loves being the main man, and
yeah,
if he went to anywhere, if he went to Man City, he wouldn't be. 'Cause he'd be behind De Bruyne. I think fair enough. He
no,
walks into every side in the league except for an informed Liverpool team. But
mm,
I think he loves being the main man at Villa. He's the first one in the like everyone wants to interview. He's the page boy. He's the best player. He's the captain. He's Mr. Villa, isn't he? And I think if he goes anywhere else, he won't get that type of attention, which he loves.
yes, he likes to be centre of
He
attention,
does.
and if it works for us, I don't care.
Exactly, it doesn't
He's
bother me.
best player we've probably seen in the last 30 years,
Yeah, I
20
was
years at least.
I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about the Villa 82 side, and I asked him a question. 'Cause obviously, we weren't born then. I asked him the question: would Grealish get into that squad? And his answer was Grealish would get into any Villa squad I've ever seen. So I think obviously with the older generation of fans, they could obviously tell us whether we're right or wrong. But
Yes,
I definitely think that Grealish is will go down in history as probably the greatest Villa player ever. If we
yeah.
win.
He's up there, 100% up there. If he stays at Villa's whole career, then yeah,
Yeah,
probably easily. He's so unique, isn't he? He's completely unique. I mean, we've been speaking now 40 minutes, and we've not actually mentioned Grealish really until
that's
now.
strange about us, isn't it?
It's strange about us because we both every Villa fan loves Grealish. Most football fans are starting to come around to the idea that he is not just a greasy diver. He's actually an exceptional player. He
I
really is unique in a way that, as all the commentators say, all the pundits say, every ex-professional, Rio Ferdinand was talking about him. He's so unique to an English player that realistically, I can't think of a player who's from England that has played like him consistently. Because Wilshire, when he was coming around, he was that spark. He was
Yeah,
Gascoigne point two. Barkley, when he came around, people were calling him Gaza, and he never hung on, never stayed around.
yeah.
We'll
He
have to
never
wait and see if
established. They
Grealish
never
keeps it up.
established that. Yeah, they never established that name, did they? As that everyone links Grealish to Gascoigne because of obviously the way he plays and the freedom he plays. I think hopefully in the Euros when Southgate picks Grealish because he has to. He'll well yeah he'll probably put Rashford over him, but that's a different topic which will be
Yeah,
discussed. He
that's
needs
my
his head
biggest
checking.
worry.
He needs his head checking if that happens. But anyway, he'll I hope he shows the world what he can do. But then I also hope that he stays at Villa when Real Madrid come knocking.
Well, yeah, you don't want him to do too well because someone
Yeah,
might come sniffing around saying
yeah, that's it.
we'll give you 100 million. It's hard to turn down.
It is, especially for like. To be fair, I don't know. Our financial stability at the moment is we've got a huge fan
Yeah, we've
base.
got one of the richest owners in the league.
Well, we've
Yeah,
got two, haven't we? We've got Oh, you're better with names. Go on.
the
It's
American and the Egyptian.
I've read an article about them earlier. I think one's worth like 4.6 bill, and the other one's worth like 5.3. And then obviously we've got Perslow as well, who's behind them, obviously, but he's in the club as well. He loves I think
Yeah.
they all just love Villa, which is great.
But what it was good because obviously, if you look at the Burnley takeover that just happened,
Yeah.
There's a lot of rumours about when it was in the talk, people were saying, "Oh, this is brilliant for Burnley because they'll be able to spend more money, improve." But from the looks of it, it's more of a financial
Yeah.
takeover in terms of not spending big and just making money.
Yeah, I think obviously with Newcastle are undeniably a huge club. They're the biggest club in the section of the
The
country.
North,
Yeah, of the north.
the
Yeah, they
North,
are.
North.
They're great, and well, football is life in Newcastle, and I think obviously they're getting talks about getting brought out by is it like Dubai or Saudi Arabian
Yeah, that all
companies.
it was Saudi Arabian like Prince, and that fell apart.
Yeah, well that fell apart because I think Mike Ashley's asking for far too much money, isn't it?
I think it fell apart because the Premier League wouldn't allow it.
Oh really?
Yeah, because it broke some rules. I can't remember exactly what it was. It's a couple of months ago. But anyway, now we'll move on to the preview for the next game. So I'll let you kick that off. Who we playing? Yeah, who we playing
Well, we play
and what
Brighton
team?
next Saturday at I think
What time?
it's either 8 o'clock or 8:15.
Good.
It's
Well
quite
done,
sad.
Mitchell. Know your
Literally,
facts, son.
we watched one match. Well, I say I watched one match. I know, like, always looking forward to Villa again now, which we haven't done for
Yeah.
ages. It's like,
Exactly. Yeah. It's a weird one, obviously, because of COVID and the lockdown and all that sort of stuff. It's it was a Villa game potentially twice a week,
yeah,
and
exactly.
they're
It's
all on
awesome.
TV. So for the first time in our lives, especially, I think anyone's life really, but there's a game to watch every single week at least,
Yeah, it's
and,
awesome.
we're not bottom of the table getting hammered,
Yeah,
so
but
it's
yeah, so we're
nice to
playing
watch.
Brighton, which is obviously a different challenge to Arsenal. Brighton are very defensive team, and they'll set up defensive, so they'll play their three centre backs and probably like their full back. So it's technically five at the back with their full backs pushing on. But I think different from this game, obviously we set up to defend a bit more. We set up to defend a lot more with Nakamba and McGinn sitting back and a lot more energy. I think obviously in the next match, composure is going to be a huge one. Taking our chances when we get them. So for that, I'd probably take out Nakamba and I'd put Louise back in because I think he's a bit more calm-headed.
Mm.
He's a
He
bit
can
more.
pass. He can
He can
pass it out
pass.
wise.
Yeah, because we're gonna have a lot more of the ball against Brighton, and we need players that can play. I'd probably keep Traore in. Barkley. Barkley will play, whether that's because I want him to or not. He will. I'd probably. I'd still love to see him probably play Sanson because he looks like a talent and he does look like
Mm.
he can control the tempo of play, which we'll need to do against Brighton because Brighton will try and sit back and counter.
Well, they just beat Liverpool. I don't know I can't remember who they're playing this weekend. I'll keep an eye out. But
Yeah,
they
we'll have
just
to
beat
keep an eye
Liverpool,
out.
and Liverpool didn't really create very much.
No, but yeah, I think any other week I'd tell you to I'd tell him to drop Mings as well, but I can't do that this week.
Mings. Well, House is out, isn't he, for a few weeks?
Yeah, it's fine. I'll throw a Villa shirt on.
And
I'll probably do a better job usually.
don't know about that, Mitch. I've seen you play football.
Yeah, no. Just yeah. I'll do the no
Yeah, I'd have
nonsense.
to agree. What do you think? Okay, before we go, what's your score predictions against Brighton then?
I think well, we just started hitting that stride. We're scoring. Like even today, we showed a lot of optimism to score. We had a lot of shots that should have gone in if the keeper wasn't on top form. So I'm probably gonna go maybe a 3-1, probably 3-1 to Villa
Okay,
because
right.
really
I'll
set the
hold you
sides up.
to that. I'm going 2-0 Villa.
Yeah, 2-0.
2-0 Villa.
Uh,
I'm hoping.
I think it's always difficult. Like probably just in my blood to always say Villa are going to concede a goal up until this year. But with Martinez and Konsa and Mings, that then just that triangle there, I think, is solid.
Yeah, the
I
back
think
five is fantastic. Yeah.
obviously Mings, like, yeah, he's proved himself this week a bit more than he has in previous weeks. So let's just keep that going, and let's hope that next week's chat isn't just slating things.
Yeah, well, we can do that in our own time.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. Well, so thanks, Mitchell. This is great. Well, excellent chat as always. This time we've recorded it. I'm gonna pop it on the
Exactly,
internet.
and then
So
other people tell us that we don't know what we're talking about,
yeah,
and everything we've said is wrong. But there are delusional people out there. It's just
yeah.
unfortunate we're not.
Us included.
Nah,
Yeah.
don't know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Well, anyway, thanks a lot for watching. If you have watched, if anyone watches at all, I don't know. Thanks a lot anyway. So we'll see you all again next week.
See you later.